Hi, this is Professor Lipuma of the New Jersey Institute of Technology, recording for my Technical Communications class with material drawn from my text, Fundamentals of Undergraduate Education and Learning. We're going to further our discussion of mood and style by talking a little bit about tone. So let's begin. What is tone? For us, tone is the attitude that the sender has toward what is being created. And the idea here is that as you create your package, the choices you make convey this attitude you have, and we consider that your tone. And tone can be both written tone or spoken tone, tone of voice. Usually, tone is a significant part of style, but not the only thing to be considered. And the way you use your tone helps create your mood. So that when we talk about these things, you want to see that tone, though part of style and used to create mood, is different from these two things. Now, as we move into this, we're always trying to come back to the idea that you need to know your target and situation so that you can choose an acceptable tone so that you are able to accomplish your goal. The wrong tone as you're writing can dissuade or make your target not interested in understanding what you're saying, and so you do not accomplish your goal. Now, one thing that we really do want to understand is that the decisions you make as you create your package, as you develop what you're putting together with your message and your medium, lead to tone, even if you don't choose to insert a tone. The idea is that naturally, just by the fact that you're creating things, the same way that style is created by the choices you make, tone is often done as well, but tone is much more deliberate and much more able to be influenced by what you do. And so we're going to look at what are some of the basic elements that go into making tone, and then after that we'll talk about how you might be able to change your tone. So the first thing we do is how do you express tone? And we have to look at it in the written form separate from the oral form. So first of all, your communication tool. What method of delivering this material, what form? The idea is that there's lots of different tools for accomplishing your communication. And so as you write, the choice of the tool you use is very important. And then when we go beyond that, there's other things that we want to consider. When you look at your tool, the form that you choose, whether it be a template that's already preset for you or the order of things that you put together, will very much influence the tone that you pick. If your target expects to see certain things and you don't include them in your form, that can lead to issues. So next is the idea that the structure of how you put things together as you write in your thing, where you put words and how you put them down, that can make a big difference in the tone that is understood by this. Your attitude comes through with these three things, and these are very broad stroke things that probably have less impact in the written word than say in the spoken situation. But the next ones that we're going to really talk about really are a big way to get across your idea of tone. Written emphasis, ways in which you bring forth certain words within a sentence or highlight certain aspects of what you're writing, can really convey your attitude towards that material. One of the most simple ways to think about it is if you write in all caps, many people will take that as that you're angry and yelling, even if that wasn't your choice. And so something as simple as that can make a very large difference in what you do. Next, and perhaps last, but definitely not least, is vocabulary. Your words are key to what you say and how you say it. When you are emphasizing the tone of something by choosing words, by repeating words, by developing a rapport with your target by the words you choose, you definitely bring across your attitude towards that thing. And we'll look at this a little bit more at the end. Now, on the other side, we have this idea of oral. The conception of writing uses those same ideas. So the communication tools you pick are important, but for us, in an oral presentation, you become, again, part of this, and so your tone of voice becomes very important. One of the things is that you get immediate feedback. When you look at all those things that you will construct in a speech, you can immediately draw back on what happened. So, for example, suppose you're telling a joke and the audience laughs. In a written statement, you can't get that feedback. So you don't know how that will come across, that idea of your attitude towards the material if you were sarcastic. In the audience situation here, because you have immediate feedback, laughter, it's positive. Sighs, groans, maybe it's negative. Someone says absolutely nothing, maybe you've lost contact with your targets. There's no one paying attention to you at all. And so, this idea of immediate feedback helps you understand that as you get this tone in your oral presentation, you can adjust it to be more appropriate. So, vocal emphasis is perhaps one of the most important things we can do. If I speak seriously about something, it's a little different. Yeah, that was very important. The idea that subtle cues brought forth through what you say reflects your attitude. And again, of course, the words you choose are very important. Vocabulary, 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 vocabulary. I cannot say it enough. In everything we do, it comes down to choosing the right words for your target and your situation so that your package gets across what you want to get across. Many times you don't realize that certain words carry with it an attitude that you did not intend. In both the written and the oral situation, what we want you to do is try to start with a neutral, professional tone, one that is not biased on one way or the other, and one that is a professional set such that your target sees you as belonging in that situation. When you then decide to adjust your tone to convey an attitude, you will do it from that point of an even baseline and can highlight certain areas. Being aware of your attitude and how it is expressed is very important. So then the question becomes, how do we change tone? And again, as we were saying, it depends on the way you craft your package. If you start with that neutral sense, you can begin to add in words, phrases, formats, imaging, graphics that will all do this stuff. These ideas will be covered later on in future presentations, but for now, realize that as you make these choices, thinking about these things will help you improve the quality and potential effectiveness and success of your package. So, if you know your goal, your target, and your situation, as you create your package, you can see how your tone is coming across and use your style or develop a style that effectively uses tone to improve and augment your message rather than detract or distract from it. Now, next thing we want to do is that understanding word choice and usage is vital. I've said it repeatedly in this presentation and throughout all my presentations. I cannot change your words for you because they're the words you use. But you have to be sure that the words you choose are appropriate to what you're trying to do and the attitude you're trying to convey. And it's not just the words you choose, but how you use them. Many students fall into the trap of wanting to seem like they're more intelligent or more professional, and so they'll use a thesaurus to replace words, not knowing that that replacement isn't used correctly. Even though the definition is the same, its use or application, its connotation is different in that situation. So please, please be very careful about word choice and usage. In the oral presentation side, you also have to worry about pronunciation because even though it's not specifically dealing with your attitude, some targets will interpret your inability to pronounce a word correctly as your lack of interest or your lack of professionalism. Thus, the attitude towards the subject is less than it should be. And of course, we then have to talk about an example. What you want to look at when you're thinking of word choice is this idea that many words can seem very similar, right? If I was discussing parking at my school, I might say that there's not enough parking spaces and that makes me angry or upset or annoyed or dismayed or pissed off. Now, even though all of them convey my same feeling about this word, the tone of these changes, right? Angry is an agitated state with things, whereas upset is more of an internal feeling that you have. Annoyed is somewhat less strong. It's weaker than being angry at something. Dismayed, right? That seems like it's not even a strong feeling. It seems as if, well, I'm things, and it's also some word that you may not normally use. Now, of course, last but not least, if you say I'm pissed off, that may not be professional. And so when you talk to your friends, it may be absolutely appropriate to come across with the attitude in that tone of being pissed off. Yet, when you're writing to the president of your university, perhaps pissed off is not the right word. In the end, what you want to consider is that we're not telling you to adopt a specific tone. We're asking you to be aware that as you create your package, due to your choices in style and your choices in all the other aspects we've discussed as you communicate, you automatically adopt a tone. And so, what we're asking you to do is realize what that is as your target will interpret it and be able to adjust it so that it best fits the situation and target to accomplish your goal. Now, this link, which I will leave here for a minute for you to see, is a page which does a lot of good discussion about tone, especially at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to click it, and you will be able to see the page come up for a minute. So again, this is the page. The English department has created this, and if you go near the bottom of the page, it has a particularly good set of links and discussions with examples for tone and some of the other things that we've been discussing. And so, if you can look at this, this would be an excellent way to further your discussion of tone to see good examples of what we're talking about.